Hello, my name is Jennifer Terri and I make Philippine Travel Updates. In this video, we'll talk about the international flights to or from the Philippines for the month of July. So we'll talk about flights landing in Manila, in Clark, and in Cebu. We'll talk about the flight schedules of Philippine Airlines. We'll compare the prices of tickets with different airlines. We'll also talk about travel advisories. Now, travel in the Philippines, it's not yet completely back to the pre-pandemic levels, but it is thriving. 2022 is the year of recovery of tourism and the airline industry in the Philippines. Philippines tourism enjoys strong recovery thanks to balikbayans and foreign tourists and Filipinos. Actually, the Bureau of Immigration even deployed new immigration officers to handle increasing travelers. Airports in the Philippines are busy. In fact, the new elected president says that there will be an emphasis on the recovery of the tourism industry in the Philippines, and he says it will exceed expectations. About masks, well, let's talk about first about COVID restrictions. Philippines, many countries in the world have lifted their mask mandates. For example, in the US, you do not need to wear a mask anymore when you're riding an airplane. But in the Philippines, that's not the case. In the Philippines, it is mandatory to wear face masks in Philippine airports, actually anywhere. So please bring your mask even if you're coming from a country that is no longer requiring it. So for example, you're coming from the US, traveling to the Philippines, please bring and wear mask. How about pre-departure testing? It's becoming, well, it is becoming a thing of the past. Many countries in the world have lifted the pre-departure testing requirement. Soon the Philippines will follow, but right now we have exemptions. So if you are an adult with a booster shot of at least one booster shot, you are exempted from pre-departure testing, meaning hindi mo na kailangan magpa-test kasi exempted ka na pag may booster. While teenagers, as long as they're fully vaxxed, no need to show a test result. 11 to 4 years old will just follow whatever the requirement of their accompanying parents. So, for example, if they're traveling with a fully boosted adult, then they are exempted as well. 3 years old and below are totally exempted. Again, if you're an adult, if you have a booster, then you're exempted. How about for exit in the Philippines? Do we have to show a negative test result? The Philippines does not require a COVID test when departing the country. Take a COVID test only if it is required by your transit country or country of destination. So for example, you're entering the US, you no longer need to show a negative test result since US already lifted the pre-departure testing requirement. However, in some countries with layover in Taiwan, you would need to show a negative test result. Layover in Taiwan, you need to show a PCR test result. Okay, just take note of that. But if you're not going to layover in Taiwan, let's say you're going to USA, no need to get tested. If you're going to Singapore, no need to get tested as long as you're fully vaccinated. If you're going to UAE, no need to get tested as long as fully vaccinated. If you're going to Saudi Arabia, no need to get tested. If you're going to the UK, no need to get tested. If you're going to Australia, no need to get tested. If you're going to Canada, no need to get tested as long as you're fully vaccinated. So many countries in the world already lifted the pre-departure testing requirements such as Poland, Norway, South Africa, Maldives, Hungary, Ireland, these are just some of them. Many countries in the world no longer require testing for entry. Except if you have a layover in Taiwan. Now, how about forms? Health paper forms are integral parts when traveling during the pandemic. The Philippines has One Health Pass. This is required for all passengers. You have to register to onehealthpass.com.ph to enter the Philippines. It is required for entry but not for exit. Kung pupunta ng Pilipinas, kailangan ng One Health Pass. Kung aalis na ng bansa, hindi na kailangan ng One Health Pass. As always, please check the advisories of your airlines and be updated with the travel rules and updates. If you want to follow the travel updates in the Philippines, be sure to subscribe to this channel because I do that daily. While don't be surprised when checking with the airfares po, plane tickets, the cost of plane tickets to the Philippines have increased because of the fuel surcharge. As you know that oil prices have skyrocketed and that has forced airlines to increase the fuel surcharge. We can expect that plane tickets po will not be cheap like before. Now, let's stop talking about that. Let's go now to the flights. Flights in Clark. This is the July 2022 flight schedule. This is for Clark International Airport. We have Jetstar Clark to Singapore. Yan, they do have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 days a week. And then we have Clark to Singapore via Scoot Airlines. That is daily. We have Jeju Air, Clark to Incheon, Fly Gangwon. This is a recent addition to the airlines that fly to Clark. We have Fly Gangwon, Clark to Yangyang. Then we have Clark to Incheon, Clark to Busan. This is also new. South Korea is our number one tourist market, foreign tourist market. It's no surprise that more flights to or from South Korea have been added. We have Emirates Clark to Dubai daily. We have Qatar Clark to Doha. For domestic flights, it's limited since Clark is very close to Manila. We only have flights to Cebu or from to Cebu. Then we have Cebu. This may be my favorite airport. Why? Because Cebu is very lenient, very loose. It is actually the best port of entry for unvaccinated foreign nationals. As of the moment, it is the only port of entry for unvaccinated foreign nationals. Thanks to Governor Gwen Garcia of the Cebu province for allowing unvaccinated foreign tourists to enter the country through Cebu. She issued Executive Order number 15 allowing passengers traveling to Cebu for business or tourism purposes, not requiring vaccination, but you would have to quarantine upon arrival. So listen up, unvaccinated foreign nationals. These are the available international flights to or from Cebu. We have Qatar Airways, Doha to Cebu, Cebu to Doha, that's 4 times weekly. Emirates, Dubai to Cebu, Cebu to Dubai, that's daily. We have Turkish Airlines for our travelers coming from Europe. We have Istanbul to Cebu, Cebu to Istanbul, 3 times weekly. Then we have Cathay Pacific, Hong Kong to Cebu, Cebu to Hong Kong. We have it every Sunday and Tuesday. Korean Air, Incheon to Cebu, Cebu to Incheon, 2 times weekly. Every Tuesday and Sunday. Jeju Air, every Wednesday and Saturday. Then we have Jin Air, Incheon to Cebu, Incheon to Cebu, Cebu to Incheon, that's 2 times weekly. Singapore Airlines, Singapore to Cebu, it's daily. We have Scoot, the sister airline of Singapore Airlines, that's 5 times weekly. And then Eva Air will go back, have resumed actually. So they started last July 2, Taipei to Cebu, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then on July 16, they will have their Cebu to Taipei flights. Then we have Philippine Airlines, Cebu to Narita, Narita to Cebu on scheduled dates. And then Cebu to Incheon, Incheon to Cebu, that's daily effective July 23. And then Cebu to Osaka Kansai, Osaka Kansai to Cebu, that's July 24 and 31. Again, for unvaccinated foreign nationals who would like to enter the Philippines through Cebu, check out Singapore Airlines, Korean Air, Qatar Airways. They do accept unvaccinated foreign tourists, as I've heard from our travelers. Now, let's go to Philippine Airlines flights. What are the flight schedules of Philippine Airlines? So the Philippine Airlines, the best advantage is they do have direct flights. If you're coming from the US, it's a direct flight. I don't think any other airline offers that. This is the most convenient since it's direct. If you're flying with kids or with senior citizens, it would be best to fly direct. Philippine Airlines says we continue to add international and domestic flights in line with progressive easing of restrictions and reopening of borders in various countries. Here are the flights we are operating. Let's start with our flights in the United States of America to or from the US. So before we start, just a reminder, The US lifted the pre-departure testing last June 12. Regardless of vaccination status, all passengers going to the US no longer needs to show a negative test result or a proof of recovery. However, the vaccination requirement stays. Again, if you are a non-US citizen or you are not a legal permanent resident of the US, you must show proof of being fully vaccinated against COVID-19 unless you fall for the exemptions. While the attestation form is only required for non-US citizens. Now let's go ahead with the flight schedules of Philippine Airlines to or from the US. Just checking today, I did check with Philippine Airlines. Los Angeles to Manila, Manila to Los Angeles, leaving on July 25, going back to LA on August 24. With Philippine Airlines, this is a direct flight. It is at 2013 US dollars. With Japan Airlines, it is at 1934 with the same date. Asiana is at 2045. So the cheapest compared with the three airlines is Japan Airlines. However, take note that for this one, there's a layover of 8 hours in Japan. While the Asiana one, there's a layover in Korea for 9 hours and 40 minutes. For a $70 difference, I would choose Philippine Airlines for 2013. It's a direct flight. So I can sleep all throughout the flight and then wake up in the Philippines. I think $79 is nothing compared to the convenience of flying direct. So that is with LA. How about San Francisco? Let me check the plane tickets for San Francisco. So let's check San Francisco to Manila. San Francisco to Manila. We have San Francisco to Manila for 1,003. That includes two pieces at 23 kilos per piece checked in luggage. And then going back to San Francisco on August 22, that's for 1,285.57 cents. So total, if we fly with Philippine Airlines, we leave San Francisco on July 22, and then we go back on August 22, it is at 2,288 US dollars. That's fine. Okay, let's do naman New York. Welcome to New York. It's been waiting for New York to Manila. New York to Manila, leaving on, let's say, July 30, going back on August 30. That's a month of stay in the Philippines. I have a question, guys. How much money do you bring to the Philippines for a 1 month vacation? How much does it usually cost you? Comment down below. Alright, New York to Manila for 1,233, economy flex. We can cancel out after departure, but with a fee, there's a no-show fee as well. You can do no-show, but there will be a fee. There is millage accrual if you want to collect miles. This includes two pieces at 23 kilos per piece luggage. And then going back to New York for 1,335. So if we take this flight with Philippine Airlines, we leave New York on July 30. We go back on August 31. That is for 2,568 US dollars. Now let's do other routes. Let's do Honolulu. Alright, we have Honolulu to Manila. Okay. For 633, two pieces at 23 kilos. Okay. Then how about going back to Honolulu? That's for 590 US dollars. So total, if we take this flight with Philippine Airlines po, we leave Honolulu on September 20. We go back on October 20. That is for 1,223 US dollars. Let's compare that if we book the flight in less than 1 month. So Honolulu to Manila. Let's say July 20, we go back August 20. Is there a significant difference? Remember, we are going to pay 1,200 if we book 3 months ahead. Let's see. Yan, if we take a flight, if we book it in less than a month, I would be paying for Honolulu, leaving Honolulu on July 21, going back on August 21 for 1,463. So there is a 10,000 pesos difference. So it's really much better if we book months ahead, no? Now let's check plane tickets for, let's start with Vancouver to Manila. Alright, we have Vancouver to Manila for July 29. It's at 1,024 Canadian dollars. And then going back to Vancouver, Manila to Vancouver on August 29, that is for 1,645 Canadian dollars. So if we take this flight with Philippine Airlines po, we leave Vancouver on July 29, we go back on August 29, we'd be paying 2,669.96 Canadian dollars to Philippine Airlines. Now let's do Toronto. Alright, Toronto to Manila, that's the cheapest one we have. Is there is a stopover in Vancouver. For how long? 5 hours. Not bad. And it's the same country, so you can go out. Okay, so let's take this one, 1,450. Oh, there's a cheaper one, but longer layover, 22 hours. That isn't inexcusable. So 5 hours layover in Vancouver, that's fine. Manila to Toronto, we have on August 25. All cheap flights have been sold out. So we have Economy Flex for $2,015. So total, if we take this flight with Philippine Airlines, we leave Toronto on July 25, we go back on August 25. That is for 3,465 Canadian dollars. So big difference. Big difference, no? Compared to Vancouver. Ngayon, i-check na naman natin po for Middle East flight for kababayan. Let's start with Riyadh. Riyadh to Manila. Sa mga kababayan natin, special mga OFWs. Sige, itry natin ngayong buwan agad-agad. Gusto mo nang umuwi. Sige, Riyadh to Manila. Itry natin guys, July 30. July 30, gawin ko na lang one way ha. Assuming na finish contract ka na. Okay, Riyadh to Manila, alis ka ng July 30. Riyadh to Manila, that is for 4,324. Okay. That is, included na po yung dalawang pieces na 23 kilos kada isa. Huwag po tayong lalampas. Kung sinabing 23 kilos, dapat 23 kilos lang. Mas maganda po ipakilo nyo na yan bago pa kayo pumunta sa airport. O nasa 4,324 Saudi Arabian Riyals. Ay, mahal no. One way lang po ito. Magkano ba yan sa Philippine Peso, guys? So, 4,000. Ay, napakamahal. 64,000. Hindi maganda mag-book ng same month, guys. O, merong mas mura. Nasa 3,724. Pero mahal pa rin. Mahal pa rin. Mas mahal talaga. So, i-check natin. Kunwari, nag-book ka 3 months before ng inyong flight. Sige, Riyadh to Maynila. Riyadh to Maynila. Gawin natong 3 months. So, July, August, September. Gawin na lang nating October, ha? October 11. Gawin lang nating one way. Right, we have Riyadh to Maynila po. October 11, that's for 1,694 Riyals. O ito, medyo na siya. Makatao daw. Makatao talaga. 1,694. Magkano yan in Philippine Peso? O, 25,000. Ito, I think, hindi, mura na ito, I think, guys. O, 1,694 kung sa October pa tayo lilipad, ibubook na natin ngayon. O, mas okay talaga, guys, kung mag-book in advance. Huwag kayong mag-book na same month sa inyong flight kasi mahal na talaga yan, guys. Paubusan na yung flight. Next natin is yung Damam. Damam to Maynila. Alright, we have Damam to Maynila po. Nasa 1,864. Pero mas mura itong sa September 19 na nasa 1,464 Saudi Arabian Riyals. Oo, kaya sabihan nyo na yung amo nyo kung gusto nyo nang umuwi, sabihin nyo mag-book kayo in advance kasi para mas mura. I-try na naman natin Dubai. Gusto ko pumunta ng Dubai. Dubai to Manila, i-try natin guys for the month of August. Sige, August 25 ilagay natin. One way lang i-check ko guys ha. Papakita ko na lang din. Check na lang natin yung Cebu Pacific. Cebu Pacific, if you nanonood kayo, meron akong email sa inyo. Hindi nyo pa na-open until now. Yung refund namin sa aming flight. Shout out sa Cebu Pacific. Alright, we have, let's check ha. Dubai to Manila. O, nasa 1,348. O, mas mura itong sa August 26. 868 AED. O, mas ang laking tipid guys kung sa Cebu Pacific kayo. Halos times 2 yung flight. Halos times 2 yung presyo ng PAL. O, suggestion ko mag Cebu Pacific na lang kayo. Hindi man the best yung service, pero ang laki naman ng tipid. Sige, sige, sige. Now, let's go with Australia flights. So, how much? And reminders lang. Reminders for our travelers coming from Australia. Just yesterday or the other day, Australia, starting July 6, will no longer require vaccination, will no longer require the declaration forms. So, you just come into Australia with just your passport. Simply that. And if you're vaccinated, bring your vaccination proof, as some states may have their own restrictions. But yeah, it's like back to normal. All COVID-19 related restrictions for Australia have been lifted. Yay! So let's check the plane tickets for flights going to or from Australia. Let's start with Sydney. Sydney to Manila. So let's say you want to escape the winter. You'll be leaving on July 20. You go back, let's say August 20. That's for a month of stay in the Philippines. Actually, let's also check, let's compare it with Cebu Pacific. Actually, guys, I always fly with Cebu Pacific. Do I like Cebu Pacific? No, I don't. Their service is not the best, but they have the cheapest flights. Anyways, here we have Sydney to Manila with PAL, 654, with 30 kilos check-in luggage. And then, going back to Sydney for 583. Oh, ito, merong 590. Let's choose this one. So, total would be, with Philippine Airlines leaving Sydney on July 20, going back on August 20, is for 1,244 Australian dollars. Let's compare it with Cebu Pacific. Sydney to Manila. Okay, 1,2. Tapos, if it's with PAL, 754 lang. Nako, mag Cebu Pacific na lang po kayo. But I suggest choose flexi option so that you have options to rebook without a fee. Ayan. Cebu Pacific is a cheaper option if you're coming from Australia. So let's check Japan. How much? So let's go with Narita, Tokyo, Haneda na lang. Tokyo, Haneda to Manila. We have Tokyo to Manila for 1,700 100,760 Japanese yen. O 44,000 ang mahal-mahal. Kasi close pa yung Japan sa mga regular tourist, kaya mahal. Oh, let's do Tokyo. Sana mag-open na yung Japan para maging mura na yung flights. Kasi pag close yung country guys, mahal talaga. Tokyo, Narita to Manila. Compare natin with Cebu Pacific. Sige, let's say alis tayo ng August 17. Okay, we have Tokyo to Manila. For August 17, we have 55,660 po Japanese yen. So, I think mas nakamura. Ang mahal naman pala ng Haneda. 55,000. That's 22,000. Mahal pa rin. How about sa Oo? Ay, mas mura. Ite, Cebu Pacific. Half yung presyo. So, mga nasa 10,000 lang. Mas mura talaga, guys, itong Cebu Pacific. Okay, let's check naman Singapore. Alright, we have Singapore to Manila for 211 sa Cebu Pacific po. Ito pa ay July 20. Ayan, 211. Samantalang sa Philippine Airlines, 256. Also, hindi masyadong malaki yung difference this time. Okay. Oh. So, yun lang guys for our flights for the month of July. Sana nakatulong ang video na ito somehow sa inyo. And kung magbubook kayo, always compare with different airlines and direct lang kayo sa airlines magbook para iwas aberya, para mas mabilis yung refund, yung mga cancellation, or yung kung mag-change ka ba ng flight, kung magre-reschedule, mas madali kung sa airline ka nag-book kesa sa third party. Minsan yung third party, mahirap i-contact. So that is all about for this video po for July international flights. God bless you all and happy flight to the Philippines. Safe travels. Bye!